Keas love being near people, and that's why we think there's thousands and thousands of them, but there isn't. When you go in the mountains, I mean, I don't have to tell you, you go to Treble Cone, don't you? I tell you what, I don't know if you noticed, this winter there wasn't very many Keas at Treble Cone. Some days there was only 1, 2, there used to be 12, 15, 20, now there's only a couple. But because Keas love to go where people are, because there's things they can play with. Shiny cups and spoons and cameras, that's right. Gloves. You ever seen Keas pinch a skier's glove off the bonnet of the car? One will get hold of one finger and one will get hold of the other finger. And they'll pull it apart because they, oh, I want the glove, it's mine, it's mine. And of course they love playing netball with Coca-Cola cans. They pick them up in their beaks and they throw them. Whee! Well, one of the things I like to do in these lovely mountains of ours, I like to go climbing. And when we go up in the mountains climbing, we sleep in little huts like French Ridge and Colin Todd and 1 or 2 other places. And these huts have got steep roofs so that the snow will fall off fairly quickly when it's heavy snow. Keas love these roofs because it's somewhere to land for a start, and they can slide on the roof. Keas love skiing. They actually slide downhill deliberately. I mean, you've probably seen films of penguins. Penguins slide along on their tummies because it's a way of getting around in Antarctica, but Keas do it just for fun. They go down the top of the roof and they'll slide on the snow. Whee! Because when they get to the bottom, they're such good flyers, they just fly away and then they come flying back and flying and then they land on the roof. And then they'll run down the roof and slide down again. Whee! Well, of course, these huts got corrugated iron roofs on, and that's very noisy. So every time a Kea lands on the roof, we hear, and then we hear. Of course, inside a hut, there's all these climbers trying to sleep, because this always happens in the middle of the night when you're sound asleep and there's Keas up and down the roof, yelling and screaming and having a great time, trying to wake us up. Yeah. So one day in a mountain hut, we were telling Kea stories, another climber and myself, and a few others. We'd all got special stories about Keas, and I heard this one, and I thought it was so good that when I got home from the trip, I thought I'd try and write a song about it, but it came out as a poem, not a song. This is the story of 2 Keas. Oh, I tell you what, we better get a picture of a Kea out first. There he is. Oops, he's upside down. Well, that's all right. In fact, I'll leave him upside down and you'll find out why. Okay, are we ready? That's not a kakapo, it's a Kea. Okay, you ready? I'll tell you a tale of a Kea that I met in a high mountain hut. This clown of a bird was rather absurd, in fact, a bit of a nut. I'd been out all day on the mountain. The descent to the hut was quite steep, so I boiled up a brew, had a couple or 2, and retired to my bed for a sleep. It was 4 or 5 in the morning, long before the first light. As I slept the deep sleep of the tired, I heard a loud clump in the night. Then a pattering sound on the iron, and a galloping noise on the ridge. Then he opened his beak, let out a loud shriek, and whee! Slid right down to the edge. Then he climbed back up to the rooftop and he started all over again. What a din! Up and down on the tin, like the whole All Black team. Well, at last, I could stand it no longer, so I jumped from my bed in a fit. I got a broomstick that stood in the corner, and the ceiling started to hit. All at once, the noise subsided. 10-second silence ensued. Then, a pattering sound down the iron and a feathered face came into view. Hanging upside down from the gutter with his beak pressed into the pane. What was that just rattled my talons? You could see going round in his brain. But, well, I hid really quiet in the corner, so he He ran back up to the top and he started again on his little refrain. So I banged to see if he would stop. Once again there was a brief silence as I thumped on the tin with the broom. Then a squawk. Sound of feet pattering down and a face looking inside the room. For more than a half hour or longer we continued with our little game. I'd bang on the ceiling, he'd run down the tin and look in the window in vain, because each time I'd stand so quietly he couldn't see what made the noise. The poor bird was getting quite flustered. He was really losing his poise. But at last there was nothing but silence. The key has flown home in a tiff. So I went back to bed and I laid down my head. I was sound asleep in a jiff. It was only another few minutes when I woke to a sound I knew. On the roof. Again. Oh no. Now I think there's two. They proceeded to dance a fandango and a jig and a polka as well. So I leapt from the bunk and I grabbed up the broom and I started a hammer. Well, as I banged away at the ceiling, got the noise going on up there. The hairs on my neck started prickling and I felt a cold, icy stare. I stopped in the midst of my efforts and behind me I took a peek. There, upside down in the window. Na 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 na. Two beady eyes and a beak. At that, the parrot got quite excited with shrieks and squawks in full spate, gave a few big flaps like a big feathered bat and flew back up to his mate. And at that, curiosity satisfied, they decided to call it a day. But with one very last run down the roof just for fun, and a squawk, the clowns flew away. Kia, 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 kia.